thing.
Yeah. So
Oh, we're live by the way now.
okay,
So here we
cool.
go. But yeah, we were just talking about how you were saying the Bay Area is boring now, huh?
Well, it's it's not what it used to be. I mean, well, there's that big ass fire, and after that, they've shut down basically every single DIY venue. I mean, it used to be like when you were in the Bay, there was like a DIY venue like on every single block in Oakland, and you could just go to like several different like crazy underground shows. And there was like in one night, and I would used to go to like 3 or 4 like a week,
Yeah.
and it was like really exciting place to
Yeah.
be.
I mean, that was when that was when I met you, was when, when you were playing in Religious Girls
Right.
and Extra Life. I mean, I met you through, when Extra Life would come out, we would tour the West Coast. We'd play shows with you guys. And yeah, it was always DIY Oak. I can't even remember the names of all those cool spots we
Right.
played, you
Yeah, our
know?
place was Deep Space Nine.
I remember Deep Space. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do remember, dude, crashing on. Man. Okay, that was actually one of my favorite. That's definitely one of my favorite DIY shows I've ever played. I mean,
It was very fun. It was very unexpected too. I think we relocated at the last minute.
yeah, was that the deal? I mean, because I
Yeah,
just remember we played in the garage, right? And it was very
right.
bright because it was either all or nothing with the lights,
Right.
and it just had this vibe of like hardly anyone there knew who we were, and we just ripped, and everyone loved it. That's what
Yeah, it was
it was one of those
awesome.
shows.
Yeah, it was actually I was not even I because originally I remember your guys' show, whatever you were booked, was canceled. And so for like several hours, we all thought that the show was so like not gonna happen. And
Yeah,
so we all like took shrooms that day.
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
And so then I ended up having to play a show on shrooms. and, and then I saw you guys on it. It was totally blew my mind. It was like really like you guys are all sitting there with like sheet music and
Yes, yes, yes.
and playing one of the most shredding shit I've ever heard.
That was because the first Extra Life tour where we were still doing the sheet music thing. We hadn't stood up like the rock stars we were meant to be. But yeah, Religious Girls I loved, as you well know. But I guess I can't even remember how I got in touch, how I met Religious Girls.
I don't remember either. It was through our drummer or something.
It wasn't through you. Oh, I feel bad. I can't remember the name of. Was it Nick or
Yeah, that's our
no?
drummer, Nick.
Yeah. It was through Nick. It was through Nick.
Yeah,
Um,
that sounds right. That's what I
yeah,
remember too.
yeah. Religious Girls was sick. That definitely seemed like music that you could play on shrooms and would be potentially
Yeah.
better, or
Yeah, probably.
at least as it would be a fit.
Yeah. Yeah, it made perfect sense. It was really fun.
Yeah,
I was usually I took things really seriously. I made sure I was never like, drinking before a show or anything. But that time I caught me off guard, but it worked out nicely.
yeah,
So we've been practicing a lot, so
yeah. Religious Girls was like I I don't know. Every band that I like usually has some kind of craft going on.
mhm.
So even though that music was very like, I don't know, like it would seem loose or all, like
Right.
unhinged in quality, it was all, you could hear like
Right.
there was
Like
work and labor and dialed in shit and carefully considered
mhm.
stuff, like
Yeah, like we wrote our whole EP in like specific order. All the songs kind of like flowed into each other, and we could only play our shows in the exact same order. Otherwise, it would like fuck up
right, right,
the
right.
song. So, but by that time we had done it like at least 100 times, so we had it pretty worked out.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
and it was all like everything was like based on like numbers. Like we had to like memorize tons of like a lot of stuff. Like we would do like and it was like all like it was based on all our like phone numbers and stuff. We would just like
Really?
like for my phone, yeah, like that's just 4846892, and yeah, that was the easier way for us to remember. It was just based it on numbers like that.
Dude, that's
But
very I wouldn't have thought that. That's very like modernist composition, very new
Right.
music of you.
Right. Then I'll,
Composer shit,
yeah.
Fibonacci series or your phone
Right.
number or I Ching generated numbers,
Right. Right. But then we like there were the sections that are all based on numbers like that, but then there are also like improvisational sections where it was more based on like eye contact, and we would just wait until like one of us would like raise their arm, and then the party's like over, and it was just however long we were feeling it, and then
Yeah.
we would give the command to change the part.
Yeah, that's so sick. Did I can't like did religious girls like get up and stuff? Like I can't remember because it's like I remember just like loving it, just thinking like this was just one of my favorite bands to play with in the whole country. Like did I can't remember. Did you guys get like attention or did it just kind of
Locally, we got lots of attention. We were playing
yeah
a lot of big shows.
yeah
And then like we went on tour, we got a lot of good reception. We started getting a little bit known, but after our first EP and our first couple tours, I left the band. So
that's right. I remember that. Yeah, they kept going like without you and stuff. And
yeah,
then, yeah, but then I remember we met up in San Francisco like after that, like at the Hemlock Tavern and stuff. I remember seeing you.
yeah,
Yeah. For yeah.
but yeah. So after that, I quit that, and then I started. Cause I like kind of, I had a lot of drama going on. I like fell out with all my friends, and like dumped my girlfriend, and I moved out of the Deep Space Nine, and all this stuff happened all at kind of at once. And then I moved home, and I just started focusing on kind of a solo project, which was called Birthplace. And that was when I just had like a Juno 6, a DX7, a mic, and a like a Electro Harmonix 2880 looper.
Okay.
And I would just sit and just kind of improvise with my all this shit and record loops live. I would set Pro Tools to record, and I would just keep improvising for like 3 or 4 hours like every day. And then I would go into it and just chop out bits and pieces and like cut it down into like 4-minute like chunks.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was my next project after Religious Girls, and it was that's what I was doing right before I started producing for rappers. It was I kind of got all my chops up. I started getting really like fast and stuff at keyboards by doing it all day, every day.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because I kind of miss Birthplace. I mean, I remember that you were doing a solo
Right.
project.
Well, that's the thing is I
Yeah.
kind of never really promoted it. It was just kind of it was more like a spiritual meditation thing that I was doing, and then
Hell yeah.
so a couple like albums just came out of it, and but then I started doing a project that was more like normal music. Like started doing Friendzone, and then I
Yeah.
was just like, because I don't want to like promote this like weird ambient experimental project. I don't know how to do that. I'd rather just make some music that's like danceable and fun and like marketable or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, that's like the conscious vibe with Friendzone. You're like, I'm into a lot of it. You're basically like, I'm into all this experimental stuff. This is gonna be the normal thing,
right.
I mean, to whatever extent, like Lil B is like normal or whatever.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like all this stuff was like making me really exciting, and I was like, I don't need to focus on this like avant-garde shit. But so lately I've been looking back on that project, which like I only released it really on YouTube. I just uploaded the songs on YouTube, and well, I put up a Mediafire link that people could download it like 10 years ago. But I've been listening back to it. I really like those records. I think they're actually really cool, even though they're like really weird and stuff. But so I decided to go back and I remastered them, and I just re-uploaded them to Spotify.
Yeah. So this is the new release. This is the new release.
Yeah, that's the new
we're
release that I'm
announcing.
talking about. Yeah, it's a
Everyone's gotta check this out.
Birthplace. It's 2 albums. One's called J+++, and the other one's called Castle. And I don't know. I think it was It's worth people hearing, I think. So that's why
Yeah, I thought it was
I
awesome,
was
man.
like, it
Super
shouldn't
into it.
be in like my closet or whatever. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, it's cool.
yeah, I haven't uploaded to Bandcamp yet. I'm gonna do that later today.
Yeah,
Keep
totally. I mean, some of
forgetting.
the sound world is not like a billion miles away from Friend Zone. I mean, it's like
Well, yeah, it
it's a little
actually,
less murky, a little more sparkly,
yeah. I mean,
you
it's
know.
like
But
basically where I was coming from when we started Friendzone. Like James was kind of bringing more. Uh, he was the guy who came from just DAW, like computer. He was making like electronic stuff.
yeah,
Like I don't like. Have you heard the Drive soundtrack, the movie Drive?
no, but people have
Oh,
told me to check that out. Yeah, 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 yeah.
well,
Did
that was like his favorite artist was the guy who composed for that.
who did that?
College. It's called College. It's like like a French. It's kind of the same kind of scene that like a Daft Punk is from. I forget what it's called.
I thought you were gonna say.
French house music.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I know what you're. Yeah, yeah. Daft Punk has some sick film scores.
Right.
Irreversible,
Right.
brutality,
Wait.
dude.
Wait. Are you saying that Daft Punk did the score for Irreversible?
Yeah,
I don't think they did. What are you talking about?
what one of the guys did. Yeah,
Did they?
yeah, yeah. Well, no,
Wow.
let's look it up. Wait, let me see. Let me see. Um,
That's
irrever-
shocking.
I mean, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no, I mean, not that.
I know they did Tron, but I didn't know they did
I was
Irreversible.
never a huge. I was never a huge old. Like yeah, Thomas Bangalter. Isn't that the? Isn't that
Could be.
the Daft Punk dude, Thomas
Might be.
Bangalter? We are not going to eat up an insane amount of time on this, but yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, no. He's
That's
half a Daft
amazing.
Punk. Yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
guess he is from France, and so is what's his name? The director,
Gaspar.
Gaspar Noé.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, now we.
Wow, that's
uh,
amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So, but wait a minute. So we were talking about. Oh, okay, right. So yeah, you were talking about James. Right. He was like really coming out of the
Right,
guy
and
who did the Drive soundtrack. The guy College. Okay.
yeah, and he was doing. He had a project that was like really similar to that. It's called LVC, and it was just kind of like really positive, beautiful, like blissful, just like um computer music where it's all like made with a drum machine and stuff. And when I was coming from like religious girls and I was doing my Birthplace project, both are like, there's zero sequencing, zero drum machines when what I was doing.
Yeah.
And so he kind of taught me how to use Ableton. And this was kind of around that time when I remember I feel like it felt like, like Health was like almost one of the like last rock bands like in that era. And then all of a sudden like Crystal Castles came out who like remixed Health. And that like just changed everything. Like all of a sudden like there's like Picture Plane and all these other artists that where
Yes.
there was like no more like bands really. It was just all people making really crazy stuff on their computer because it felt like Crystal Castles and Picture Plane basically showed everyone that like, oh, you can actually make like cool like artistic music with a computer.
This is really interesting, man. This is really interesting because yeah, I knew Travis. Yeah, back like right before he started that.
Right.
Not
Me
really
too.
well, but because yeah, but right through Rhinoceropolis, right? The
Right.
venue he ran. He's such a G, dude. Just like he like ran that venue.
He's so cool.
He kept running that venue like quite a bit after getting kind of famous, you know,
Right.
like when he didn't need to do it, and he like just kept
Mm-hmm.
holding it down. But yeah, what was I gonna say? That's so interesting though. You pointing to the Crystal Castles remixing Health record,
Right.
as EP as being
It
like
was
a moment like that literally just that is pivotal.
right.
I hadn't thought of that exactly. You know?
So I mean, to me, that was like the moment. It was basically that's why I sometimes say like the Crystal Castles was basically like the Beatles of like my generation, at least, where like all of a sudden somebody was completely revolutionizing like everything. We had like there's now a totally new approach to music that everyone was taking. Like now you don't even need like to move drums or amps anymore. You just need a laptop and you can make music that's just as sick as any band, if not cooler.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is that true? Is that cool? What do I think of this, Dylan? Oh, we got Senum in the chat. Oh, by the way, are you looking at the comments? You can look at the comments on the side if you want.
I
If
don't
you
know how. Okay,
if you click on comments, it's
I
good because
see.
you've got actual fans in here who like actually specifically care here. So this is you might want to. But yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, health being the last of that. Well, because when I think of, because like I'm like I think almost 10 years older than you. I'm early 40s, so I like when Crystal Castles were popping off, I was like, this is cool, but I wasn't like young, like
Right,
oh, like I'm having a moment. Um,
right. Like after that, like everyone I know was like, "We gotta start like a band." That's like, we need to get a girl just to sing. We need like, a computer. We need like video game sounds, and but
getting a girl and video games, two things that did not meet when I was a kid, but then you got older, it's like, oh yeah, okay, you can actually have a girl and a video game in the same room. But
yeah.
yeah, like
But after that, there all of a sudden there weren't very many bands anymore. Everyone was doing a like Ableton based project, and that's what I started doing because I at that point I was very tired of dealing with bands. I like after religious because there was a lot we were doing a lot of shit. Like it was very
yeah,
fun. It was a lot of hard, but it was a lot of hard work. You know, had a lot of like
moving the
manage
drums,
4
like you
different
said.
guys, right?
Yeah,
And it's
literally
also
moving the
like
drums. Yeah,
dealing with like 4 different guys that all have like their egos and
yeah, yeah.
like disagreements. So like some of them are like on drugs, and I have to deal with all kinds of stuff to like get. You have to like figure out how to get all these people to like meet like every week to like
Yep.
record and to
I'm still
jam.
doing it, man. I'm
Yeah,
still doing
yeah.
it.
I was so impressed to see that you can actually not only could you form a band like with all the instruments, but they can actually play that music.
Yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah.
I I have no idea how you actually can get those musicians together consistently. How
Well,
did you do that?
not. I'd like to say it's just like oceans of charisma over here, but some clout and shit. But I think a lot of it, there was a certain moment. Things do happen in moments. Well, then again, this is not that moment, and I've revived Extra Life, and it's still the same vibe.
Mhm.
But but yeah, I think at that time, I don't know, it's just like there were a lot of musicians who just wanted to play super complex music, and just people in my I kind of like just like in the Northeast a lot. There was just
Mhm.
like a lot of prog, I guess, for lack of a better
Right.
word, weirdo tech music. So it's kind of
Are
people
you
were
talking about the
psyched to.
first time?
Yeah, yeah, like OG Extra Life. It's like for me to be
Right.
like, yo,
That
I've
band was
got this.
so sick.
Oh my god, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. How many guys were in that? Like 7?
well, the version you saw was 5.
Okay.
But then it went from 4 to 3, and like, now it's 4 in the new
It was
incarnation.
so
But
cool to see it with the full band with the like violinists and the
yeah, 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 yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, at that point, it's yeah, like to just be like, yo, I've written like this insanely hyper complex music, and it's
Mhm.
kind of dark and has these other elements and vocals. People are like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But like, well,
Like I could
yeah.
see it happening, back then. So there was lots of people trying to start a band. Like that kind of music was like I don't know the most kind of a popping thing at that time. There's a
Well,
lot of
yeah.
really
Well,
cool,
that's the thing. The extra
really
life
technical bands going on.
that stuff that formed though in 2007, and I disbanded it first time around, in 2012. So that's in line with what you're talking about, because
Right.
that band, I formed that in like late tens Brooklyn, which was very bandy, guitar-y,
Hmm.
white guys with guitars
That
vibe,
must have been a really exciting time for
Oh
Brooklyn
hell
too.
yeah, dude. I mean, I won't even. Yeah, yeah. I've done enough memory lane on here. This is more, bridging the memory lane to now. But like,
Right.
but yeah, when you got going on the DAW thing, well, because early tens though, it's
Hmm.
funny when I think of early tens, I think of the band thing, is like black metal and dark gothy stuff became popular, right? I mean,
Right.
black metal became trendy. That I think
Right.
of that. I think of that as a big, like,
I
white guys
remember.
with guitars went to that,
Right.
basically.
So it was like basically I remember it was because the really big thing that was going on like back in like 2007, I guess. Was that the year that like the Deep Space Nine show happened, or was that
That
must have been
year
like
was
2010?
that was 2009 or 10, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
But yeah, like that time like we are kind of on the tail end of maybe not the tail end yet, but what was really the big thing was noise music was
yes,
like huge at that time. Like everyone was in a noise band, and it was like a really exciting time for to be playing noise music. But eventually that started to get dull. I guess you seen like people with feedback loops of pedals
yeah.
enough times that
Rat's Nest. Yeah,
people started getting well, it started to evolve. I remember the first thing that it started to evolve into was ambient music, which was kind of like it's kind of like acoustic noise or something,
hmm
or it's like the
yeah,
gentle version.
yeah.
And I got one of the artists that really kicked that off was One No Tricks Point Never, I
Oh
think.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I guess
And
noise. You think noise kind of went into vaporwave a little bit? Is that kind of?
I kind of yeah, I would say that One No Tricks Point Never basically is the proto vaporwave artist.
Yeah,
But also he kind of kicked off like he made it so like Tim Hecker and all this other ambient kind of shit
yeah,
that's going on. I feel like he kind of paved the way for all of that to become like the next to like replace noise music kind of. And
yeah.
then kind of parallel to that, the other thing that noise musicians started switching over to is that Lil B came out,
Yes.
and that was really exciting for people who make noise music, and they started to realize that okay, I can like produce for rappers, and like rapping is like this really exciting like avant-garde like style of music.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and it was that's kind of what we got us started. Originally when we started Friendzone, we were really inspired by like picture playing and like French house music, and by a little bit by Crystal Castles and stuff like that. And we kind of wanted to just like Gatekeeper, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, there's like a lot of really like that whole Hippos and Tanks label was really exciting to me at that
Oh,
time.
what's her name? I really liked and still do like Laurel Halo.
Yeah,
That
she was
time.
great.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I was listening to her, and so that kind of stuff all got me excited. And so yeah, our first couple releases were just instrumental music that was kind of along those lines. Like I said, the witch house scene was happening then,
yep, yep, yep.
and that was all kind of stuff that was inspiring us. And then but then shortly after that, we heard Lil B, and his take on rap music was like so because when he came out, it was after like a really long like stagnant period for rap where it was just kind of like all Cash Money records.
Like the
And
Coke rap, like Cameron and shit like that.
yeah, and I found that stuff just really boring. Well, it was just
I liked clips. I don't know.
like Clip's cool,
There's something kind
although
of yeah. It was never
it,
my thing though. Really.
like
Yeah.
for me, I kind of found it was just like Clips, for example, their production is almost just drums,
I know. That's
you
what I
know,
kind of like. I mean, yeah.
which is like I guess that's exciting, but for me as a producer, what I'm all about is like making melodies and keyboards and
Yes.
stuff, and then drums are kind of an afterthought for me. But
That's interesting. That's actually
but
really that makes sense. Listening
right,
to it for sure.
yeah, and then I heard Lil B, and he was like doing all these. He had like all these really beautiful beats going behind us. I guess most famously was Clamps Casino had like I'm God that he made, but then that and we saw how he was doing it. But he was like putting out like like 100 songs of mixtape and
Yeah.
like
Yeah. That was I wasn't
and
even listening to him at the time, but that was
right,
that was the thing about him was
right,
this interneted out relentlessness,
right,
unhinged
right,
business approach,
right.
unhinged
And but he was like
industry approach.
yeah, and but also his artistic approach is kind of it was like it's known as based, where he's just like doesn't give shit basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now
And
now bass means something else, but yeah.
he's almost like an outsider artist,
That was my impression at the time, yeah. Yeah.
Right, and it was just it made me really excited. And we realized the way he works is you just email him beats and he makes so much music, he'll probably use your beat.
Yeah.
And and so we started the first thing that we did was we were like, we're gonna make beats for Lil B. And he never rapped over any of our beats. Although he would always reply to our emails and say, "Keep sending in this shit. This is good shit." And, but eventually we ended up finding another rap, project that was also in Oakland, 'cause Lil B is from Oakland, or he's from Berkeley, but they're all from the Bay. But then eventually we found out about Main Attractions, who was making he was they were well, Squatta B, one of the rappers from them, it was producing a lot of their beats, and his beats were on a whole different level. It was like he would take what was the really big thing at that time was you would take songs by Imogen Heap. Have you heard Imogen Heap?
I've heard of them. I actually have to admit I haven't. I mean, they're kind of
Um,
like proggy post punk or some shit, or what are they? Like,
no, no, no. Imogen Heap is like a pop singer,
oh, okay.
and she uh, she kind of pioneered this singing style where she uses like a it sounds like a vocoder, but actually it's like I think it's like more like she's using like auto tune with like a really thick harmonization,
Okay.
and it just like makes this like massive vocal sound,
Which is
and where it's like
contemporary or
yeah,
old?
she was like she had been like a major artist a few years before that,
Oh, okay. Okay.
and people like Claves Casino, like his "I'm God" is a sample of Imogen Heap, and basically the way she uses her vocals is it sounds like a fat ass like synth pad, like a full chord,
Okay.
and when you sample music with vocals like that, it's it just sounds really cool when you chop it into little tiny pieces. You could chop it up like note by note instead of like a basic sample where it's just like 8 bars of a song looping.
Yes. Yeah. Vocal chops. That's like
Yeah,
a
we'd
big.
start chopping it down to notes, and you could just make totally new compositions. Just use her like voice as like a synth preset, basically.
Was that kind of a was that technique of just taking little chops of vocals, like slivers of samples, was that kind of just new then? Because I sort of, I kind of, not that I do that in my own shit, but I think of, I don't know, like I think of that as like a very standard, cool thing that people do. Did that
Um,
start then? I
it
mean,
kind of it it was very different at that time, especially, and though especially using that kind of music and chopping it up that way, made for just like such you could get this like complex, like really beautiful and complete like everyone who samples the same song could come up with completely unique, different like the song sounds completely different from each other, and so that's kind of what kick-started it, was everyone was doing that, and then we started moving, we expanded our horizons, started working in, like us personally, we started sampling, J-pop music, which, there's
all
this
right.
one artist called Perfume, and, they do kind of exactly the same thing as Imogen Heap, where they have heavily auto-tuned vocals like T-Pain, and it's like layered into like really thick like harmonies that sound like really fat, like square
Yeah, I
wave
know the
synth.
sound. Yeah, yeah, it's like
And
huge. Yeah, it's like a wall. Yeah.
yeah, and well, I kind of our thinking was like we wanted, and it's like what was happening was like we was taking it and like making it really like psychedelic and like trippy sounding, and kind of what our thinking was is we wanted to be kind of like I want literally what we said to each other is like we should be like the My Bloody Valentine of like rap beats.
I can, yes. Well, there's, yeah, like at that time there was such a vibe of like dream, like haziness,
Yeah,
right? With the proto vaporwave thing, the chill wave thing, which at the time I really didn't like. Looking back, it was very cool. I just wasn't.
right.
It's just the
I
emotion. I just wasn't
what
feeling. But
bothered me about the chill wave thing in particular was they like what the fuck is that name? It's such a
right.
it's like such a low creativity to
Well,
call.
that's
And also they're like none of the artists sounded like each other. It was just like a catch-all term, marketing term. It didn't
was
mean
it?
anything.
I guess
I
so.
f-
I mean, I'm
that's what I
thinking
felt
of.
like.
I mean, I'm thinking of that. I don't.
But there was like a lot of cool artists that were grouped under that
Yeah,
term.
I'm thinking of like James Ferraro and
Oh, like he was really
and
cool.
that kind of, yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't
No, I
think
mean
of him as
that stuff was
chill
really
wave.
cool.
I guess I would think of that almost as proto vaporwave.
Oh, I kind of thought Showwave kind of was like proto vaporwave. I don't know,
I guess you
but
could say that. Although I
being more lo-fi, like more
right,
analogy tape
right,
sounding instead of like sort of crispy.
right.
But in it, it's just all this. Yeah, there's a really dream-like vibe, like you were saying, like My Bloody Valentine, and even if stuff wasn't shoegazy, there's this kind of nostalgic, like hazy kind of thing happening.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's when people say cloud rap, is that kind of what they're
Basically,
generally referring to? Because I didn't know
yeah.
Friendzone was cloud rap. I had heard
They
that
were kind of
term,
referring to a sound. It was kind of being invented by us and Squad B and Clams Casino. Were what I think of as the kind of the main artists that were starting it out, and then there's a lot of other people that were starting to do similar kind of thing, and then that became
Word.
cloud rap.
Are those cats all San Francisco? Is that a San Francisco thing, like cloud rap?
Well, it was nationwide because it was all internet based, and so
that was my next question. Does geography matter yet?
like,
anymore. I mean,
right? It didn't. That was when geography started to not matter because all of a sudden you could just email someone your beat and they'll either rap over it or not. And
yeah,
but we were lucky enough to we actually lived in the same area as Lil B and Main Attractions, and that's how we kind of starting to work with Main Attractions. Is that they really liked our beats, like Perfect Skies and Church, and they we had them come to our studio and we started recording them, and we became their main studio, and I started recording them like 3 times a week.
That's awesome. Church is a sick beat. That one I know by name, actually.
Right.
There's not a ton of them like that one. Yeah.
Right. That was one of the first ones we did with them, and that ended up on one of their next album, even though their manager didn't like want it to be on there. He was like, the hi-hats are too loud on this. But then the label forced them to put it on there, and it became one of the most popular tracks on the. I mean, like the 2 tracks that we did for them are still like there was some of their most viewed music videos now.
I thought that was so interesting that you said that a lot of that production you were like not that the drums would be an afterthought for rap music.
Right.
Like I love hearing stuff like that because it's just like it once you said that it like makes total sense, but it's just like what, like because like when I revisited a lot of that stuff, I knew Friendzone back in the day, but of course, I like I sort of brushed up, and I'm listening to it, I was like wait a minute, like a lot of this is technically kind of trap beats, but kind of, I mean, trap elements with the drums, but it's like it just doesn't come off. The feeling of it is just so not that, because it's just mixed. It's mixed lower. The primary thing you're focusing on is the textures and the melodies and the
and that's kind of like the My Bloody Valentine sort of element that we're bringing to it, where it was kind of we were just stacking up the samples and the synths like a fucking wall of noise of like guitars, basically. And I mean, that's kind of where I was coming from. Like I've always been like a guitarist or a keyboardist, and or a sample manipulator, and that's kind of where I come from. It's like where for me, when I'm making a beat, first I need the loop of a sample or a melody first, because I need something that like catches my like heart, makes me like feel something,
Yeah.
and that gets me into it. And then I get started, and then I could put beat drums over it, and then especially with the rap music, the drum patterns are always kind of similar. So it's um so I can like put that off until later. First, I need a few like 8-bar loops as different samples and different things, and we set it up so where or yeah, like the instruments are almost kind of drowning out the drums almost.
Yeah.
But they do chop through. It's kind of we usually put like a side chain or something to
Sure
the kick and the
you got to
snare like pops through.
You got the side chain. I was so proud that like just when I first started, electronic music's not a big part of my thing, but I have some little side projects that do it.
Sure.
I'll send you some of the shit. But I independently arrived at the idea of side chaining. Very. I was like, dude, what if you set the compression from the thing? They're like, that's a thing. Everyone does that.
Yeah. Well, that's how you make your like bass like huge without drowning out the kick drum.
Yeah.
So you like sidechain the kick to the bass.
Yeah. So it's poking through. You actually, you know what I was thinking about also, like that first weekend, the first couple weekend LPs or singles or whatever, they sampled like Cocteau Twins, right, or something.
Right.
Like that was kind of like a moment, right?
Right. Oh yeah, and then
the haziness.
Right. A little bit after, it was like Drake started to come out, and he was like putting out this like totally different like approach to like rap music where it's like beautiful, and like emotional and masterful. It was like so it was just a very, very, very exciting time for rap music. It was like a whole renaissance was happening. And then like for cloud rap, although I feel like Drake actually picked up a lot of different cloud rap sort of elements, especially on his second record. There's even a song called Over My Dead Body. It's the opening track, I think, on his, is it on Take Care or maybe the third record?
I'm not sure.
But it's to me it sounds like they listened to Friendzone and they copied that kind of style of beat to me.
Very possible.
But what really made cloud rap kind of go mainstream was because A$AP Rocky came out. He was, and that's why cloud rap is not just a Bay Area thing. Although you could say that Lil B started it, and he's from Oakland. But at the time, nobody fucked with Lil B in Oakland. Like if you went, like Lil B was world famous at this time. He was one of the most popular rappers and most influential rappers. Every other rapper was like copying him. But if you went to a Lil B show in Oakland at that time, there was nobody there. Like we went to one, and we were one of the only people that were there. Because I guess like I think maybe that's kind of the way it is in the rap scene, where like if you're like a big rapper, everyone like wants to like kill you. Or
oh shit, you think that's
yeah, or they're all like jealous of you, and everybody's like you have to like watch your back all the time. And
oh man, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Especially somebody like Lil B, where they're like, you can't even rap, you're like crazy and you sound stupid or whatever, and they like don't get why he's like becoming such a big deal.
Yeah, totally. But it's super interneted out. This is the time when geography starts to not matter. You'd be world famous. No one knows you at home, or no one goes to see you at home.
Yeah, but then it became like artists all over the country started becoming like a crew, like Main Attractions and Danny Brown, who's from Detroit.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's amazing. I love him. Space Ghost Perp from Florida, who was making really exciting where he was making this like really lo-fi stuff, like it was kind of like Ariel Pink, you know?
Yeah.
Where it like sounds like it's just like on an old cassette tape or something.
Yeah.
And it was like so sick. And then A$AP Rocky was from New York, and he had a completely A$AP Rocky was the one where he actually got like signed to the big major label, and then he had a bunch of songs with like Drake and
Yeah, that's the thing because
Kanye.
I never really thought of him as like a weirdo. You know, like I never thought
Right,
of him as like part of weird
right. But he
music,
was,
but he did have that hit with the
but
Friend Zone
he's,
beat. So
yeah, and he was part of the same crew
yeah.
as all these other people, including Main Attractions, who we were working with. And Main Attractions like has a guest appearance on his first mixtape before.
Oh yeah.
It was called Live Love ASAP, and it was kind of all the same producers. Like we all actually like all of the producers and the rappers in the cloud rap scene, we actually all had like a Facebook group at that
Oh,
time, and we would
sick.
all just hang out and chat on there.
All right.
And so we all got connected, and we all started we started producing for all these different artists all over the country.
Through the Facebook group.
Yeah,
Love it.
basically.
Love it.
And and uh so so yeah, then Rocky got signed. That became like a really huge thing. That's when like oh, cloud rap is like the next big thing or whatever. But none of the other cloud rap artists really got like that big. But it was like the dominant like rap scene for like at least like 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's very nice. It was a very beautiful time.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Would you say that kind of like that got in bumped a little bit or like replaced or kind of moved by like the kind of see because I'm not a rap dude on this level, you know what I mean? I love
Right.
things that I love, but I'm not like up on all the
Sure.
various vicissitudes of the scene throughout the years, but like that kind of like Future, you know, like Travis Scott,
Right. So
kind of
like,
like that aggro trap shit, which I
mm-hmm.
love.
It's
Uh,
great.
that hard type shit where it's like two sounds, right? It's like just like a
Right.
hard beat and then like a couple little elements. That's very
So
different, right? I mean,
basically what happened is because cloud rap is not really like mainstream style of music. It's avant-garde. It's like
that yeah, that's my impression. Yeah,
it's experimental music, and like all the like most interesting and popping artists were like, it's all inspired by Little Beast. Was all kind of like weird music, um, but um, but trap music was kind of
yeah, trap is yeah,
a parallel style that was also coming out. It's like heavily related, but it was more focused on the drums rather than on this like beautiful atmospheric synth sounds and shit
yeah,
that cloud rap was kind of about. But we were both using those kind of Aphex Twin style sounds. Like at the time it was called actually drill rap when it first came out, because it started using that like their hi-hats like
yes, 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 yes.
yeah. And you're like, I had heard those sounds since the 90s, back when IDM was like a dominant
Yeah, and that was
like
very much
style.
experimental. You know, this is high end experimental.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. And so then all of a sudden that started getting worked into rap music, and like with Chief Keef in Chicago, and
who's that cat? Arab music, right?
Arab music.
He had a
He
lot of
was
that
kind
like
of part of the cloud rap scene, but
yeah,
he's pretty trap too.
yeah.
He was very he like really had a very polished, like ready for a major label kind of sound.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, but yeah, that had a lot
So
of that
sick.
like brrr, that kind of
Yeah.
yeah. It's not glitch is not the right word. Yeah, drill, right? It's the
Basically
drill
it is
sound of
the
a drill.
drill sound, like
Yeah,
and but it is like very like related to the 90s like glitch sound, I
yeah,
think.
yeah,
I think they must have been listening to like Aphex Twin or something,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and started working that into their music. But but yeah, it was very exciting. But that ended up becoming like the mainstream like incarnation of the kind of same movement was trap. Like, now we have like Migos and
Yeah, yeah,
like Kanye started using that kind of sound, and
yeah. It's interesting how I like these. I like how I mean, it's like I don't like categories, but I do like how the genre labels they do kind of mean something. Or what you were saying how like yeah, like,
right.
like cloud rap is like fundamentally like experimental music, and I like thinking about how it's like trap, how this trap music that we're talking about, like that kind of whatever Metro Boomin and like that kind of shit is like it's some of those sounds might be just as weird
Right.
as sounds individually as
Right.
some cloud rap shit, but the overall vibe of it is not
Right.
weird. The overall vibe of
Right.
it is like driving in your car,
Right.
bros,
They made
drugs,
it into like a total
girls.
like,
You know,
mainstream like presentation where it's actually
yeah,
really danceable. Like they're like the trap stuff like is really like club friendly. While
yeah, yeah.
like if you try to play like Space Ghost Perp like at a club, there's like no bass because
Yeah,
it's mixed to sound like a AM radio.
yeah.
Like
Ariel Pink. Yeah, it sounds like
yeah,
again.
right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, is there a different? I got a question, man. I mean, what's the drug? What's the drug vibe, man? What's? I mean, are we talking about with cloud rap? I mean, were we talking about like lean and stuff, or like
That's like what
down
everyone was
artists? Or,
doing at that time. I never did lean personally, but everyone
yeah,
around me was doing that.
right.
Or
That was a
it
thing.
was
Yeah,
Xan and lean is
yeah,
what they
yeah.
like this Soldier Boy song Xan with that lean, but which is Xanax and lean, which is extremely dangerous. Like
Dude, this is why I'm old. I have like literally never taken a Xanax. Like I just think of Xanax, I'm like, that's what my dad takes to like not yell at us and shit. Like it's
right, well, it
not
makes you
like
if you like abuse Xanax, it turns you into a fucking zombie.
yeah.
Like I remember my friend used to be like a Xanax addict, and he'd be like staying at my house, and he would just walk up to me and like ask me to borrow like whatever I was like holding at that moment, and I would hand it to him, and he would just drop it immediately and walk away, and then I would be like, "What the fuck?" And then
That
he
says
doesn't
it
even
all.
remember that he just did that like 10 seconds ago.
That says it all, man. Wait. When you say to borrow anything you're holding, you mean holding like drugs that you're holding, or literally just any object that you're holding?
Just like
in
any
your pocket?
object, period. 'Cause for me, I was just like smoking tons of weed at that time.
Yeah,
I was
like a
kind of kept it
normal-ass
chill.
person.
I was never really into, because before that, like in the noise scene and shit, everyone was like on fucking heroin,
Yeah,
and it was like really fucked up. But I was just trying to be in a band, so I was just like hanging out with all these people on
yeah,
heroin. But I'm not really trying to like kill myself,
yeah.
so
Me
I'm not
neither.
like
Yeah,
really into that kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
shit.
I only ask just on some not asking what you do or did or have done, but more just the culture, you know,
But
because
for
like
sure, yeah,
because a lot of that so-called mumble rap, whatever shit,
right.
it's like people are like lean, like that's
Right, and
about
then, like, what
lean, you
lean,
know?
like, basically is just like an opiate,
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure, so, like, a lot of my friends that were, like, they were, like, on heroin before, they were, like, switching to, like, lean
that's right. Yeah,
and to Xanax, which, like, they're all, like, super downers, and they're, like, mixing a bunch of downers together,
yeah.
and the problem with that is you could just, like, lay down, pass out,
No,
and
that's it. I
your
mean, it's
body
just
gets, like, so depressed, like, slowed down that you just stop breathing, and then sometimes we'd have to like I'd have to like slap my friends in the face repeatedly to wake them up, like
no, it's dark, man. I mean,
it's
yeah,
scary.
but I mean, the music sounds, yeah, the music
But
sounds
the music has
generally
a
like
vibe that kind of goes with that, which,
I mean, cloud rap sounds more opioid. Cloud rap sounds more
yeah,
opioid than trap, honestly. Like trap. I know they drink all this lean and stuff, but it also sounds kind of coked out to me too. Like I don't know.
right,
Whereas like this sort of I don't know. People just like I don't know. It's like it's see I don't even really believe this, but like people like be like every subculture the aesthetics are driven by some substance. You know what I mean? It's like either
right.
substance, either what drugs they're doing, or the politics, or both, or
Yeah,
something.
well, I feel like what
Whereas,
it really was, it was more driven by the technology
mm,
changes where
mm,
all of a sudden anybody could be a producer. Anybody could produce, like, because anybody can have like Ableton on their computer. You can be broke and have that.
yeah,
But and then anybody can produce for rappers because rappers are just rapping over shit that's in their inbox, and
yeah,
anybody can email them. And then the biggest thing was that a bunch of, well, like really advanced like sample slicing was becoming really accessible because everyone was learning live, and that's like live is the easiest, fastest, best way to like chop up a sample and pitch
that's
all the
why I got
different
into.
slices up.
Yeah,
And
the learning curve is crazy. It's awesome.
Right, it's very intuitive, very simple to use. Like, I was coming from Pro Tools, so I didn't even, get Ableton at first, but then once James showed me how the, grid in Ableton works, it became really exciting to me because it was like, have you ever used the grid in Ableton?
But
Or did you just use
just the MIDI.
like,
What
where you have
mean
the
just?
clips on a grid and you trigger them?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
And, like because then I realized, like, wow, this is like being in a band. Like, you can actually jam. Like,
Yep.
just play the, like, different scenes, trigger different parts, and just keep it going as long as you feel it. And you can just write all your riffs out instead of, putting it all in the arrangement and having your song
Yeah,
planned out.
yeah, yeah.
And that made it really exciting to me. And then I could like make songs really fast because I would just set up, like it was just like being in a band. I would just make, my like 2 or 3 or 4 different riffs, basically, and my different drum patterns. I would set them up in different parts on my different rows or scenes, they're called,
Yeah.
and then I would just press record, and I would just start playing the different parts and just go through it, and then I would have a song completely, like a whole arrangement of a song finished like in 5 minutes, like literally the length of the song.
Yeah, 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 and this technology, yeah, literally just live, Ableton
Right.
Live. That's like
And
that sweeps the whole, the whole
right. And
culture, man. Yeah,
right. And I think it was also that people were coming from an era in rap music where rap was getting really minimalistic, like clips and Neptune's kind of sound,
yeah,
where people were getting, I was getting kind of tired of that, and I wanted to hear rap with like, some like beautiful and like really like interesting textures, and I wanted to hear some dreamy rap. And so when that came out, like with Lil B and all the people that were producing for him, I was like, wow, I gotta get involved in this. Like, this is like, being in a shoegaze band, and I can
oh
like
yeah,
I can actually really express myself, and I can actually contribute to this because I already like specialize in this kind of dreamy music.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And then there was kind of just several different artists that kind of were on that kind of same wavelength, although they all had different approaches, like Danny Brown and Space Ghost Burp and Rocky. But that's kind of what really set it off. And then of course I feel like the drugs that people were doing kind of just fit well with it, or
yeah,
or
yeah.
it's
Downers.
kind of like how back in what the 80s, 90s, like the Jesus and Mary chain and stuff, they were like all on heroin. It's like the same kind of
It's
drugs.
very heroined out. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. See, I'm interested, man. You're talking about how like the duos, how this kind of like DAW based, yeah, DAW based,
Right.
Ableton based duo thing kind of replaced replaced
Yeah.
the band thing. See,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not even pushing back. I'm just kind of still processing. I'm like, because that obviously happened with you. I mean, in your own
Right.
life, that's what
Yeah,
happened.
for me it was like all of a sudden like bands are like over. It
They're
was like
over, yeah.
I can't even think of many bands
From
that were
from
going on around that time.
I mean, I guess me neither. Like I said, I just kind of retreated. I reverted to my natural state of just metal. Like I just went back
Right.
into
Right.
like when I was 12. I'm like, it's
Right, and all the bands that were left were like metal traditionalists or whatever,
yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
or whatever,
And
or
like
new, yeah,
the noise scene people that seem to remain in bands. Because I remember at the time, right before this all change happened, I was thinking like, for me it was like Health is like the most um advanced like bands, or like them in like battles. I was like, this is the future of bands. Every band is
yes,
going to be like this. And but then when Crystal Castles came out, that kind of all ended, and there's no
yeah,
more bands like that. And
yeah, yeah. I guess so. Because I mean, there's kind of, I don't know, like the Sacred Bones label, I think was keeping things going with like bands like there'd be like these post like Ice Age or like bands like that,
right. And
but that wasn't like new sounding
right, well,
stuff exactly. It was
a
a
lot
little
of
bit
the
more retro or something.
sure, and then a lot of the noise people that did stick with bands, I feel like they really went with black metal, like progressive black metal,
Yeah.
like Liturgy and Krallice and all that kind of stuff.
Yes. This is how things. Yeah, that's why I think metal took over the band thing. I mean, in a way,
Right.
which is, and people doing creative things with metal, but not like a band like Health, where it's like,
Right. With
um,
Health, it was like a totally new kind of
yeah.
music, it felt
I
like.
mean, of course, if we're talking about my personal, like, Liturgy and Krallice have meant way more to me than Health have, but
Right. Well,
and
yeah.
not just because of socially, but
Right.
but if we're talking about what's actually like new sounding,
Right.
something like Health would be quite a bit newer sounding than something
Yeah, and like
like
Battles too, I feel like.
Krallice, Yeah,
But then Krallice is also really new and fresh sounding. It's like a really different approach to black metal, I feel
yeah,
like.
yeah. Well, when you get into that, that's the thing. It's like, like
Like
with
their first album is a classic. It's one of my
well,
favorite albums of all
all their
time.
shit is classic, dude.
All of their albums
Yeah,
are amazing,
yeah.
especially.
Colin's coming on the stream too. He's got. I
Oh,
mean,
nice. That's exciting.
little announcement. But what was I gonna say? Yeah. But like, a band's, because like, I don't know, like, did bands? It's funny because Psalm Zero actually was a duo originally of
Mhm.
me and Andrew and a drum machine. So even
Right.
my moving back into metal was actually kind of Crystal Castles, except instead of a hot girl, it was like a fucking little scumbag homunculus man. But
Right.
yeah, like yeah, so okay, so Friend Zone is like that's like your duo, like that goes full on like DAW style and stuff. And you haven't like gone back onto the band
Not
thing at
yet.
all. Like, was
I've
that
tried.
weird? Like, did you want to do live shit? Like, I don't know, like, was
It
was
was
Friend Zone live
it
a vibe?
felt
Like,
off for me. Well, we did perform live, and at first when we performed live, I tried, to set up a keyboard and I would like play like the main melodies on songs and stuff. And but it just felt really unnecessary. And it was really hard to do actually because when you write stuff on the DAW, you never practice the parts because it's all just sequenced. So I like didn't really have all the stuff memorized. Um, and I was like trying to learn to do that, but it was like this is so unnecessary for a show. Like we're the only people doing this. Everyone else is not even bringing out Ableton. Most people are just DJing their songs.
yeah,
Like at every show that we go to, I would see like, people are just DJing and they would have a, like a projector with some shit happening. And that was like the entertainment, which is cool. And it works, especially if you have like really dancey music with like really big bass, hitting it, that works. But it, and I could see why everyone was doing it. All you have to do is bring like a thumb drive to the show and
right.
you're ready to go. And I guess like people are lazy or something and they don't want to bring all this other shit to their show. But it felt really like I felt like I'm like ripping off the audience by just DJing. But eventually I got over it and we just started to learn how to be good at DJing. Although I would actually, I didn't completely get over it because I didn't just DJ. I would actually set up all the parts of the songs in Ableton as scenes, and I would just trigger each part of the song.
Okay, yeah, right. The scenes, yeah, right.
Yeah,
right.
and
Right, just
and
to be interacting, just to be doing
right,
something.
so that I'm like
there,
doing
yeah.
something. Otherwise, I remember James actually told me, it was like, dude, you don't need to like set up all this shit. Just put the MIDI controller on the table, and you don't even need to plug it in. Just hit the pads every once in a while. And I was like, I don't know. I don't want to like be like a mime or whatever and just pretend
I
like
know,
I'm playing.
yeah. It's like I don't know, man. The thing is like with playing with. There's something about, even if it's not weird ass prog shit with a million parts, like even whatever, seeing a live band and having your face melted off. I mean, to just see something and being like,
Right.
holy shit, what did I see? You're never gonna get that with
From
with
a
playing,
DJ.
with a
Yeah.
DJ. You just aren't. You might have another kind of ecstatic experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
You might have a total ecstasy, in that
Right.
culture that I don't know as much about, the
Sure.
dance music culture, the rap music
But it's
culture.
like it's
a
all
different
like,
kind of ecstasy,
yeah, for sure. And it's like what's on stage is not the captivating thing. It's supposed to be just feeling like you're at the club,
Yeah, yeah.
just dancing at the club, which is cool. But after like a while, I feel like because it was like that for like around what 8 years, or I mean, it's kind of still like that now, really. But where it's the dominant thing is just you go to a show, it's just a DJ. Even if you're going to see like artsy music, it's like just a guy DJing the music, and
Yeah, this is. But so now, what are we
which is
talking about
so
though?
boring to me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, to me, I'm so outside of that realm that I can't even. I feel weird even saying it's
It it,
boring
it
because it's like I'm
works.
not even bored of it because I haven't
Well,
even been in
right.
it enough. You
For
know?
me, it does work like when we have like rappers, of course, because that's your band. You know, the rappers are rapping over everything, and
Yeah.
like that's really exciting. That's like a good show. But yeah, it's like like today, like my like, music is all kind of in the DAW, and I can perform it on my push, but I don't like get that excited about performing it. I want to like start a new band or something, but it's really hard. I actually have been trying to start a band like for the past like year or two, and
Bro, I've been here. I'm moving back to New York in like a month. I would say, yeah, but yeah, I
right.
guess.
Oh no, I mean, well, I mean, I'm in the Bay now. You're in the LA, right?
Oh, right. That's right. You're
Right, I'm
not.
in the Bay.
Well, because
Right,
we met in L.A. or not met,
right,
but I
right.
ran into you at Zebulon like 2 years ago,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And at that time, yeah, I was like totally ready to start a band with you. Uh, but uh, but then the pandemic happened. I just moved back
I
because
moved
there
back.
was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
no reason to be. There was no reason to be like fucking to be in LA if everything's like locked down and all this shit's
Dude,
going on
tell me about it, bro.
uh, and so
Fucking crawling up the walls here.
yeah, so I just
But
got out of there, and
yo, you were.
so
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
but I'm planning to move to New York.
Oh yeah, you said that. Yeah, sick. All right.
Right.
Well, I'll
So
see
yeah,
you
maybe
there,
we'll
dude.
start something over
I
there.
can't, dude. This could let's hold it. Let's hold on to this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was interested, man. Yeah, because you were saying though, like not just that you were trying to that you were psyched to get back into live playing, but like you were saying in general post COVID that
I
that
think
that that you think it's coming back. Is that so? You think so?
I well, I mean, I still only see bands rarely, but when I do see them, it's like so exciting. The shows just take off, and I feel like intuitively, like I feel like I've always kind of been able to sense like what is going to come
Yeah.
next, and what I feel like is that especially after the pandemics and all that shit that happened, people are so ready to see like live bands. Like that's like so refreshing
Yeah.
to like actually have like something like physically happening. That's why I wanted to when I was trying to start a band here, I was like, I want to have, 3 drummers. I want to
Yeah.
play like on the floor. I want it to be really interactive and like really like you feel like you're here with people, and it's instead of just at home on your computer, which is like watching a DJ. It almost feels like that, where it's just like there's just a guy on his computer. He's probably just on
Oh hell
Facebook.
yeah, yeah, dude. What happened to man? Like, dude, playing on the floor, dude. Just like lightning bolt. You see
Yeah,
seeing lightning bolt for the first time,
so
like
exciting.
shit like that. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Right, I saw Lightning Bolt like a couple of months ago, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure there's still, yeah.
And like we have mosh pits and all this crazy stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people are ready for that. Or if like people start bringing that, which has been hard. Although I mean, like, well, especially here, all the venues are shut down. It's like not a lot of people places are even equipped to like have a band.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's people are ready for that.
Well, I mean, I think about I feel like hardcore. I mean, that never went away, but I think that may be due for like a real like renaissance. Obviously never went anywhere. I mean, there's always been these kind of bands,
Right.
but
Those
there's
are that's like one of those genres where it will be there constantly forever.
yeah, but that's sort of like not for the most part, for decades maybe it hasn't been like fresh any kind of
Right.
fresh thing. But see, I've just been so obsessed with that band Show Me the Body. I don't know if you know them.
I've
New
heard
York.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, that is live, like
Right.
really some live shit, And they're like, I
Right.
mean, they've been around for maybe like eight years now, so it's like it's not brand new, but I mean, they've been like over the over this time period when you've been talking about, you know, um, the live band thing being less of a thing and the
Right.
DJ solo computer person being more of a thing. You know, they're a
Hmm.
band that's been like on a really mosh pit level, you know,
Right.
and new, you know, bringing that. So, you know, I think, I mean, when we move to New York, man, we'll see what's up, you know,
Yeah, that'd be good.
with the live shit. I mean, free jazz is back in a pretty big
Is it
way. Yeah,
nice?
you know, improvised music. You
Right.
know,
Because I feel like I'm really in my element making music on the computer now, but I don't know, I haven't played in a band in at least like 10 years. And like that's like what I specialize in. That's like where I came from. That's like I kind of just fell into making music on a computer. And like but my role has kind of always been is I'm the guy who like plays like real instruments and I would just come and play like an actual synth like solo over stuff and shit. But I mean nothing really there's nothing like the feeling of playing a show in a band. It's
yeah,
like totally like blissful, like ecstatic, and like amazing. And
yeah,
I want to do that again. I feel it would be so sick.
yeah, man. How much, you know, like also, you know, you were talking about how like the technology over the past decade, you know, kind of maybe moved things toward the like the two people, you know, the duo without a drummer. Like, I mean, what about, you know, you were talking ahead of time when you were talking about topics that you've been thinking about, like
Right.
also like music industry on the level of like just like press and labels and that kind of side of things. I mean, that's changed in a million ways
It's so
that
weird,
I'm sure
even.
you have a lot more. I'm sure you have a lot more and a lot of different things to say about that
Maybe.
than I do, man. I mean, I don't know, like, cause like
Like,
blogs, I know
do you
blogs were the thing.
do you feel like the music press is there? I
No,
feel like
no,
it
it's
doesn't
not.
exist.
It's not. I don't think.
It
I
used
mean,
to be, you get your album reviewed
I
by
mean,
a bunch of
clearly,
journalists, and
well,
that's like how it happened.
clearly, well, it was like 10 years ago. It was like if Pitchfork gives you above an 8, you are
You're like set.
many things open up. 15
Yeah.
or 13 or 15 years ago, it would be like a bunch of tiny little blogs, or not tiny, but
Right.
these kind of littler, you know, hipster runoff. Remember that
Right.
being an example, you know, these kind of early tens. So then you could get
But
up with all these blogs,
right.
but now it's like neither one is really.
But really, it was with the internet era. I feel like the first thing that happened was that Pitchfork like completely took over music journalism because before that it was kind of like Rolling Stone magazine and MTV and like that was like the dominant thing like back in the 90s. And then
Yeah.
when Pitchfork came, it kind of because they were doing a really good job like in the early knots or thousands
Yeah, early Pitchfork reviews. They
was
like they blew up Shoo Shoo. I'm like, thank you. That's
yeah,
like
and it was like
that's
really
well
cool.
done.
And there was
Yeah,
so much exciting music that like that they were like you would just go I would just go to Pitchfork every day and read all the reviews, and that's how I like knew about all the music.
yeah.
And then slowly Pitchfork became like corporate. I felt like it became like they started doing a lot of stuff I didn't agree with. I can't really put my for me when when I really felt like Pitchfork fell off was when they like retroactively changed the best album of the 90s from Loveless to OK Computer, and I was like, what the fuck, why would you do that? But then but but it also got to a point where I was in a bunch of bands and like we needed to get like a Pitchfork review to like blow up or whatever. And I was just starting to get this vibe like you need to actually like pay them to give you a good review or something.
There's quite a bit of that.
And
Extra Life got up quite a bit with zero acknowledgement even from Pitchfork. But we had
right,
all that blog shit, man. All that
but
early,
right.
all that late aughts,
So
early tens blog
so
shit
when
was
pitch
popping for us.
right, so when Pitchfork started to fall out of relevance, uh, I felt the blogs replaced them, and at that's then I started just getting reviews on just tons of blogs, and that
Yeah,
was like our place. And people were writing really. like long, in depth, like great reviews of all our
Yeah,
stuff on
yeah.
there, and it was exciting. One of the first artists, because the way that cloud rap even took off was not through Pitchfork. It was Pitchfork was like shitting all over like Lil B and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But there was a blog called Cocaine Blunts, and he was doing like real reviews of like what Lil B was doing, and that was like the place. And there was a bunch of other blogs that were like that, and so that was the thing for a while. But now I can't even find any music blogs that are writing reviews.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't
No,
name any.
I don't know about I don't know about what's up with blogs now. And I mean I know this. I know the past couple of records that I've put out with different projects. I can tell you that getting press is not the thing that leads to selling records. I mean, maybe it's just because Extra Life was bigger before. Who knows all the different confounding variables, but
Mhm.
yeah, I mean this recent Extra Life record got literally zero press, and it's selling better than Psalm
Oh,
Zero
really?
records. Psalm Zero records got reviewed in
Oh, interesting.
Decibel and Spin and Pitchfork, but yeah, no, but like this shit's doing better.
Yes, I
But
feel like no, I don't know anybody that reads that stuff anymore. You know?
I don't know who. I think people see that you got a review in something and they're like, oh, other people must be buying this, but it
Right,
doesn't make them buy it. Like,
right.
or people, they don't like read. I don't think people read. They see you like a metal band, they see you written up in Decibel, and they're like, oh damn, what did Decibel say? I'm gonna
Hmm.
listen to what they said about it because they know something. Like, I don't think people think that
Right.
way. But
I feel like
Aniket,
people are really tired. Well, I think people have gotten sick of the idea of like that of music journalists like gatekeeping music for them,
yeah,
when they're like, why should I read a review when I have streaming? I can
right.
just put it on right now
I could
and
just
decide
listen
what
to
I
it.
think.
No, it's totally true. I mean, it's what Aniket is bringing up Fantano in the comments,
Right.
which I'm a little old for Fantano to have mattered in that way, but I
Right.
like that guy. I know maybe I'm supposed to think he's like cringe or like some normie shit, but like I kind of think he's a cool. He seems
I
like a
mean,
cool dude to me.
he's
Eh,
perfectly chill, but like
yeah, no.
I don't agree with some of the things you said, but of course that's any journalist is like that.
Well, yeah, no, he's said some stuff I could argue for a while with, but it seemed like he's a guy who, in the past decade, let's say 6 years ago or something,
For a while
getting
he
it
was like the only music reviewer at one
right.
point.
Like people cared, like people stopped caring about Pitchfork, and
Right.
blogs didn't exist. But
Now I feel like nobody even
Fantano
cares
was
about Fantano either. Like
probably,
I can't think
yeah,
of the last time I've heard of Fantano, but yes, he was like like towards the tail end of the blogs. All of a sudden, there was just like Fantano. He was like the
yeah,
only music
YouTube.
journalism left.
And there wasn't even a ton of different Fantanos on YouTube. It was
Right.
kind of just him,
It was
right?
just him. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
not like there was a whole ecosystem of YouTubers and shit.
Right.
Um,
But it's like now I feel like what how you really get your music heard is people are auto playing music on Spotify,
right, yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
your song either will or will not come up on that autoplay playlist that's determined by an AI algorithm or something. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's the only way that I can find music now. 'Cause I don't have like a website
Yeah.
on Spotify that
Oh, you
comes
actually
up.
you're breaking up a little bit now.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, you got frozen face. Um,
Uh,
yeah,
let's
now
see.
you I can hear you now, but you're like
I could plug in my Ethernet.
I'm on the Ethernet vibe right now. Well, no, now you're back to normal. We could probably keep. We'll see if it happens more. But
Okay.
but yeah, totally. Yeah, yes, the Spotify discovery thing, man. It's hard to like. I can't even embrace or get mad at it because what I'm doing, just aesthetically, not even on purpose, but just based on what it inherently is, has no role in some like I mean, there's like a minute long intros of just a French horn. I mean, there's no discovery on Spotify with that. There's no way to even hijack that wedge or
Hmm.
way. You know what I mean? The only way my shit is growing, and it is growing, but it's just word of mouth of like literally just this right now. Like someone like sees,
Right.
it's not even. So I don't even know how to I don't even
But I
know
guess
how to
you're a
respond to that.
band at least, so you can at least play shows and people can find out about you guys through shows and stuff.
Yeah. That's actually I'm actually going old school in that regard, but not old school with press because there's press does nothing for. But
Doesn't
but
always even exist.
but um but for what you're doing though, I mean, you could hijack or I don't know. It's like but work the Spotify. There's a place for you to be getting up in that. I'm sure
Right.
you already are with the new project. I'm sure, right?
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
when the way that Spotify really works is it goes through people's what's it called? Their it goes through people's like personal playlists and like so it like you put on an artist and it goes to other people's Spotify accounts and it's like who listens to this artist and what else are they listening to? And it'll start playing that for you. So it's not even really the AI isn't just like saying like, well, what sounds like this? It's actually going and like having other people automatically pick the other songs in your playlist.
it's so yeah. You're
So
saying it's not based on aesthetics. It's based on connections of who else is doing it.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it seems to actually work well. And so if people are going on Spotify and like favoriting your album, then anyone that's listening to other artists that the same person has favorited, they might get Extra Life recommended to them.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I guess that's how it works. But it's uh, in some ways, you can kind of like it because it's almost like democratic in a way, more so than like journalism where it's gatekeeping. But
Yes.
but at the same time, it's like we've like put control of who hears what into the hands of a robot, and you can't really convince the robot to promote you or anything. It just
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, well, it's behavior, it's statistics and behavior prediction. I mean, that's sort of the
Right.
regime. Like that is the regime that we live under now is behavior prediction based on stats and probability.
Right.
So I mean, it's like yeah. So it's just getting data of what people listen to. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess yeah. I mean, I haven't had anyone say to me, I found out about Extra Life through a Spotify playlist suggested autoplay thing. I mean,
Right. So I feel like that's how most people are finding stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess the other route now is the word of mouth, and now I feel like when you want to promote a new album, you you go on podcasts
Yeah,
or
that's the
something.
thing. Yeah,
Like
no,
you do a
that's
tour of podcasts.
I mean, that's where I hear about a lot of cultural stuff.
Right.
Is from podcasts. Man, podcasting is definitely the
Yeah.
fucking.
Seems like like what you're doing makes a lot of sense.
It's a beautiful medium. I love it.
Yeah.
People make fun of it, but they're losers who don't have a cool podcast.
True.
But yeah. The Spotify thing. I don't know. I mean, there's always new technology and stuff. I mean, I wonder how much stuff gets. I wonder if the algorithmic stuff zips you into places where you wouldn't normally go, or if it whittles you into like ghettoized, like overly specific zones. I mean, I'm not sure. It seems like it must zip you around because I mean, when I talk to really young kids, like who I teach guitar, talking about not even Zoomers, but like 15-year-old kids I teach guitar. I mean, their tastes are quite all over the place. I mean, really, really eclectic. So I gotta figure they're not being locked into genres.
It's totally different from how it was like in the 90s or in like the early thousands. It was like where back then it was like someone is either a punk or they're a metal guy or they're those various other little subcultures, but it's like they just listened to one genre and that was like how it was. Well, now we're kind of in the internet era where everyone listens to like 20 different genres because there's so much music available, and you would be like really limiting yourself if you just listen to one style, you
No,
know.
of course. But I mean, I guess Spotify is like, yeah, I guess I mean,
Like,
Spot,
'cause
yeah,
I feel like my generation were the first to really experience that because we had Napster and
yep,
um,
yep, that's right,
and
LimeWire, yeah,
right, and so all of a sudden I was downloading, like 2 or 3 new records every day, and I, like, was very familiar with all different, genres. I, like, had thousands and thousands of albums on my computer, and, James was the same way, and so we were, like, really well-rounded. We really understood many different kinds of music, and, I guess, what they originally called that because it was like a new thing at first. People call that a hipster. You're a hipster if you
yeah, yeah. If
listen
you're
to
in,
all different kinds of stuff.
exactly, yeah, yeah. As
Now
though
that's
it's,
just called
yeah,
normal.
yeah, yeah. No, yeah, like as though it's insincere or something, as though
Right.
eclecticism is insincere.
Like you're trying to prove
But
something by listening to all this interviews. But
yeah, 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 yeah. No, totally, totally, yeah. But yeah. Aniket says the hyperpop kids are into black metal. Yeah, that's not surprising. That's not surprising. Um, I do have to say though, the last 10, 15 years of black metal gentrification. I don't care because I'm not a dyed in the wool fucking evil black metal dude, but that music becoming less evil is a decline in what it is. I mean, that is a dilution. I don't, you know what I mean? Like
I can see that.
I don't care, but it is. I mean, that lost something for sure.
Yeah.
But
Although, like, were you like into like the original Norwegian black metal or whatever?
a kind of. I mean, at the time,
Yeah.
I was more death metal at the time,
Uh-huh.
and death metal and hardcore,
Hmm.
and like metalcore and some adult. So it's like, yeah, I wasn't as much. I was more into the weirder black metal. That's not even really black metal anymore. But yeah, the
Right.
OG Norse shit. That was never totally my shit, but it's evil. And when you put that on,
Yeah.
when you have people getting that recommended to them on Spotify, I mean, it loses a certain, I don't know, there's a certain cultural
But yeah, it
scaling.
used to be like, like if other people what's so cool about this band is I'm the only person that's like heard of them or whatever. But well, I feel like that's not even a
That's not a thing anymore.
thing
Yeah,
anymore. Like nobody
yeah,
cares about
yeah.
that.
That's not a badge. Yeah, that's not a badge of authenticity to, like, that people don't know about something. But
Yeah.
but yeah, man. I mean, like, I don't know, like, I mean, what would you like this new well, it's not new, but the like Birthplace and stuff, like, is the new project, man. I mean, is that like is bringing that back?
Right.
Would you even say you're bringing it back? It's more just releasing something finally
Well,
that's been
I
unreleased.
do actually feel like I want to return to that. I'm actually going to buy a new electro harmonics looper so I can actually make that kind of stuff again. Because
Okay.
it's all about just the way that looper really works is it has these faders on it, and so you can actually like it records the automation of the faders to the loop. Like you can take the volume fader and just like go up and down, and it'll like create a tremolo while you're recording, or you can use the pitch fader and you can actually create these like weird pitch shifting sounds. And
Word.
like you can just really chop up the like the loops and stuff into like a really complex sound. And I think it's like a really fabulous way to get your stream of consciousness into the music. And
Hell yeah. Ooh, more freezing. You're frozen. You're frozen in a really cool pose.
okay,
It was very rap, like a very rap, like you were like spitting and shit. There you are.
I'm
But
back.
but yeah, yeah. So
Okay,
is this like yeah? What
so
like no? Go ahead. Go ahead.
right, well, for me, it's just really refreshing to make music that's not just about sequencing stuff, and where it's just kind of really coming out in the moment. You're actually improvising, and it's just something different from like the on the grid kind of sounds that I've been working with for a really long time. And so I wanted to bring that back. I wanted to but first I wanted to remaster these records and bring them back so that I can actually like I don't know, share that with the world, because I feel like it is one of the coolest projects I've done. I think,
I
in my
really
life.
like it, man. It's really, really cool stuff, compositionally,
Yeah.
or improvisation, whatever. You know, the resultant.
Yeah.
These short to have these things. It's like ambient, but it evolves, but not a
Right.
ton. But there's enough
Right.
change, and it's a short piece, and it goes somewhere, but not too far away. Like it's
Right.
yeah, they're very elegant little pieces, man. It's really yeah.
Yeah, and like and so I feel like that stuff just deserved like proper release. So it doesn't need to just be like I remember like the videos that I uploaded to YouTube like 10 years ago still have like 120 plays on them or something. But because I never even told anybody I was releasing it, I was like too busy working with rappers and stuff. I didn't care about my
Yeah.
ambient project. um, but I don't know. So I felt like it was time to actually give that a proper release. And then um I have a whole 3rd record of old stuff worth of music just on my hard drive that I'm gonna put together. And that'll be like a new Birthplace record. And then I have actually, I've started putting together, like
Okay, we got a shot of the studio here.
a bunch of, like, other I've almost rebuilt, like, a whole setup so I can start doing live looping music again. Here's all my, like I guess I'm actually pretty set up for it. I have,
Oh
like,
damn!
I
Look
have
at
this whole
this.
stack of, like I've got Electrix repeater and all these effects processors. Here's a Looperlative LP1. That's like you could do 8 simultaneous loops with that. And
Okay.
like, so I've been working on rebuilding my live looping setup. I've
Hmm.
kind of overdone it. I got all these ones. I thought that these ones were like these are like like the most complex like loop stations ever. And I was like, if I have these, then maybe I could do what I was used to be doing, like on steroids. But actually, none of these can really recreate what the Electro Harmonics looper did. So I'm just
Hmm.
gonna sell these and get get a new Electro Harmonics looper.
Get back on that. So you're gonna do Birthplace live? Is the vibe?
Um,
That's the idea.
I was thinking that would be really cool to get back
Yeah, yeah.
involved with like book myself on some like noise shows or something because they're still doing noise shows around here. I say I want to get on that. But that's also I want to be in New York. I feel like they're doing a lot more cultured stuff there. Here
Yeah.
it's kind of
If you're doing a
sleeping.
yeah, if you're doing like an abstract art music ambient solo electronic thing with like th- that yeah, New York's got you,
Right.
man. There's a
That's what I was
lot, you know.
thinking.
Not just DIY, but like institutional funded art, you know. You get some grant money or something like that, you know, these
Right,
big projects and
exactly.
shit. But yeah, man, that's like I mean, yeah, like are you kind of I mean, are you done with the whole like making beats for people and stuff, or at least for now, right? Or like
Well, I mean, I'm still doing it. For a while, I've been kind of stuck on like I have a whole new album of Chlorine Mist stuff that
oh yeah, we got to talk about Chlorine Mist because that's got beats as well. That's like kind of halfway between, right? In a way.
right. Chlorine
Yeah.
Mist is like basically what I did was because in Friendzone um I I had always been kind of feeling limited because we were always focused on producing for rappers. And when you're producing for a rapper, you have to keep it real simple. You have to really strip it back, and otherwise the rappers can't rap over it.
Of
There's
course.
like too much shit going on, and I always have really struggled with that because I'm like a prog rock guy. That's like where I come from,
That's why
and
we.
so
It's how we met.
right, and
It's how
so
we fell in love.
exactly. And so I like I'm always piling tons of stuff on there because the way I kind of make a beat, it's always kind of just a stream of consciousness. I just try to think as little as possible and just let it flow out. But because of my background or whatever, I a lot of the time that ends up like piling too much stuff on. And then so once Friendzone was over, I started I was like, I want to do this and just be completely unleashed. Like I'm not gonna worry about a vocalist like making space for a vocalist. I'm just going to keep going until it's finished. And so I started ending up making these songs that are almost like symphonic, like orchestral with all the different parts that are going on. And I started really exploring my like real influences and stuff like Philip Glass, like Einstein on the Beach kind of
I'm definitely
stuff.
hearing Glass. I'm hearing mad Glass in a lot of that stuff. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Like that's like my like probably my deepest kind of influences from back in the day. Was I was really into the classical minimalism or whatever,
Yeah, no.
and plus all the like prog, and I really like the boredoms and
Oh
stuff like
yeah,
that.
that I could see for sure. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because yeah, Chlorine Mist. Like, I mean, you were asking me about you sent me a demo, right? And you were like, yo, like how, like what time signature is this in? And I had to just go, like I had to go full like Rubik's cube mode to like give you a real any kind of like a substantial answer. But was that for Chlorine Mist or for Birthplace? Is that
um that's for actually what that why I made that was I was there is a new rapper that I was started to work with, and they wanted like an instrumental like for their rap album, and I was like, sure, I'll make an instrumental for you. And so the first thing that I did, I was just sitting on my keyboard just playing. I set up a hammered dulcimer patch, and I just improvise. But the thing that always fucks me up when I'm doing that is I never turn on a metronome, so it's never to a meter, and then I just have to like go back and make it to something. But I ended up with that loop, and the loop is like 17 bars long, but it works in 4/4, but it's an odd number of bars in length. But then my buddy wants to put like drums over it, and I was just trying to make it easier for them, and I felt like if it's an odd number of bars, then it must be some other.
yeah, man.
But
I don't think
I think it's just that it's weird because it feels like to me that loop sounds like normal.
Oh
It
yeah,
doesn't it doesn't
maybe.
sound like it's like a weird time
Okay,
signature.
then maybe you want to square, yeah, maybe the way you're hearing, because the way I heard it, I was like, this is a million different time signatures. Like I'm just hearing it as this like flow thing. But yeah. Okay,
It's
so
like
that's
when I listen to it, it sounds like a normal loop. It doesn't sound like I like was doing, but but then when I look at it, it obviously doesn't actually fit on the grid. So
well, this is the sick thing about rhythm, man. I mean, there's so many ways to like feel something, like it took me years. Like I think I was in my 20s before I realized that the Beethoven thing was bum 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 bum, that it's not bum 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 bum. Like I thought it was, like I didn't even realize that the downbeat was on a rest, like bum
right,
bum bum bum. Like I didn't know that until I was like 25 or something. You know what I
right.
mean? That like that blew my fucking mind, that I'm like hearing it. You know what I'm saying? That I'm like
Right,
literally feeling the most famous piece of music on earth like
right.
wrong, But yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying like I used to be thinking about time signatures and stuff and all the time back in the day when I was in bands, but I haven't thought about that in like 10 years because I've just been making 4/4 rap music, and on in the DAW it's so um it kind of it's really natural to just work in 4/4 because then otherwise you need to actually like program in like the time signature to make it fit, or
Sure.
like and to make
Yeah.
your like clips actually 3 beats long or 7 beats or whatever. And so I haven't made like stuff in a different meter in a long time.
Well, for rappers, man, I mean, if you're making it, I mean,
For it also
you're
like I
not
don't
gonna
even
do,
know, I don't know if you would even want to do that with a rapper. Probably not.
I've never heard rap. I've never heard rap or I mean, in three. I mean, there'll be triplets, of course, Migos flow or like Bone Thugs or something. But
Sure.
as far as like something that's actually like 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2, like I haven't really. I mean, I guess that Rihanna cover, or no, is that Cardi B? That Cardi B cover of My Favorite Things that came out last year. That starts with in 3/4. I hate that cover, but yeah. But yeah, I don't think you want to do other time signatures for
You,
rappers,
you
man.
probably
Like,
don't.
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think so. Yeah.
but anyway, I ended up with that loop, and I was like, oh, I want to put drums over this, but I guess I just need to make a different loop if I wanted to be 4/4 or something, or
I mean, that was my proggy opinion, but
yeah.
yeah,
Cause but I was also thinking like maybe I could just do something different with it, because it was gonna be an instrumental. We were thinking about making it into like a rap song, but I guess you can't. I would have to make it not 4/4 or something, or I don't know. It could also be kind of polyrhythmic, actually, because a lot of the beats that we used to do, actually, they are set up in a weird way where a loop is actually 3 bars long, and then
okay.
maybe the drum pattern is actually like 2.5 bars long, and it kind of
Really, for Friend
yeah,
Zone?
yeah. There's actually a lot of songs that are like the drum patterns do not loop uh like perfectly over a like the yeah like a lot of the time we actually did it on accident. Like James would send me a like a 3 bar loop because he thought that was like 2 bars or something, and then I would make a 2 bar loop over it, and so it doesn't repeat over each other in a perfectly locked up way. It's more polyrhythmic, technically,
Yeah, yeah.
a simple polyrhythm.
But then the entire but then the whole loop as a whole thing ends up being a 4 bar
Right.
4/4 loop, right? I mean,
Y-
right.
Usually,
But within it, it's polyrhythmic.
sometimes,
But
yeah, sometimes it doesn't even actually.
oh, interesting.
Sometimes,
Okay, yeah. So maybe this is Friend Zone. Yeah, maybe these are beats that I haven't heard, or
yeah. Well, I
like
mean,
stuff
it's
that's like.
not obvious like when you listen to it, but if you actually look at the project, that's actually how it is. And
Huh. Okay.
and
Okay. Yeah.
it's also we were really influenced by footwork music. Have you heard footwork?
I've heard of. I know it's that like Baltimore. Like I know that gets rhythmically bonkers.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was actually one of the biggest influences for us using like weird drums and stuff. Besides the drill rap, there was also footwork, which is like they were using they like heavily used polyrhythmic patterns.
That's what I understand. Yeah. Or that's yeah. That's what I've
And
heard.
and I don't know. I guess that's like kind of where that kind of stuff comes from.
My I had on the podcast this guy John Lamberton, who he makes like a whole bunch of different musical projects in LA, dude. But he has this thing Lambertronics where he was doing footwork. He was doing kind of footwork based music, but the rhythms were generated by like AI, by an AI
Uh-huh.
that he built.
Hmm.
So it stylistically kind of
Like figure out the
it,
formula.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how it was working because I'm just not like a math dude or an AI dude, but it was like it made an aesthetic sense to have that genre, to be working in that genre world, but with the craziest rhythms that are being like generated and like spat
Right.
out by processes, or like
Uh-huh.
whatever. um yeah, there's something cool about it.
Something about I don't know how I feel about AI really. It seems like it's like encroaching on our like turf, like at this point. Like
Yeah,
that's for
I can't.
humans,
Yeah,
not for robots.
with that kind of thing, I have to put a cap on how much I think about it,
Right.
just because it's like the limits of what it. Once you're trying to think about things outside of the human, it's like trying to think about death. Like you can't actually contemplate like what that
Right.
shit even is. But it's
And it's
like
like I don't know if I can even say that like something an AI makes is art. It's not thinking. It doesn't have feelings to
yeah.
express. So how is it art? Is the art not just an expression of your
Well,
feelings?
yeah. I mean, people saying that AI art is art. Yeah, my gut thing is like, go fuck yourself, dude. I
But
mean,
at the
that's my
right.
gut, But
But like I guess but really what is art is if you take something that an AI generated and then you frame it as part of your artwork, then I guess that it becomes art,
yeah,
because
if you're
that's like
using it,
how
yeah.
like how like a toilet is art in a
Sure,
museum. You can go see like they
sure,
have like
yeah.
like one part of my galleries is just a toilet,
Yeah,
but
right. No, yeah, yeah.
because I decided to put it in my gallery, that's what makes it art, I guess.
Yeah, classic shit. Yeah, yeah. I kind of like, I don't know, though it's like even with humans having agency though, even just being like, oh, like my feelings, my expression, you there is kind of points, sort of cyborgy points of view where it's like you're always plugged into machines. Like you're plugged into your DAW, that's affecting
Right.
your decisions. You're plugged into all the mechanisms of economics, all the shit. You're plugged into like other people's thoughts and influences. It's kind of like it's in a way, it's like almost like is AI not just another? I mean, wasn't everything always kind of AI? Like we're all always part of this
Yeah, I
hive,
guess you could say
this
that.
hive machine. Like you know what I'm saying? Like just like, uh, yeah. But it's you can't think that way though. You got to think that you're doing. You got to think that
Right.
you have agency. Like you can't.
Right.
It's too horrifying to think about the fact that you're already like a machine.
Yeah, well, it's at the same point. I mean, I guess philosophically, you could say that everything is just happening because other things happen, and it's just a chain
Right.
reaction and all
Right.
this stuff, and that
Right.
you
Right.
actually have never made a decision because.
I know it's like
Oh,
that kind of
but
stuff.
I don't think. Like, is that objectively the truth? I don't know.
I can't
I would
walk around
say
like that.
I
Yeah.
am making decisions all the time.
Right.
I
Right.
am deciding to do things. It's not true that I'm not. I
Right.
feel like
No, true. But
I could
yeah.
clearly I am deciding to do stuff. I could decide.
Yeah, not that we have no agency, but just that like but just that you're always like plugged into stuff. That's all. You know what I
Right.
mean? Just that like you're making decisions, but they're being like shaped by your DAW. The
Right.
shaped, just kind of just that everything. You're just one. You're like your choices are like one machine among many machines. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
you know, but it's like I don't know. The AI thing definitely like pushes. It definitely pushes shit to a certain limit or
Right.
to like new it takes things not to a limit, but it like pushes the
Yeah.
question like way further, and it's hard for me to really
Yeah. Well, I still think that it can't really create stuff. Like even like how the AI makes like a beautiful profile picture, like turns you into like a painting and all this stuff. It's not, but it's still not really uh doing anything except following a set of instructions.
yeah.
It's not really creating like while a person can actually express themselves and actually create all kinds of different innovative kinds of art, while the AI will just make a specific kind of will just do whatever it's programmed to do. It won't actually generate like a new style of music or something.
Well,
Not
they
really.
had some recent thing that like Seinfeld AI thing, right? I mean, you saw that or heard about that, where it's like
I think
they had something. I didn't actually see it, but they were like yeah, they had an AI that studied or learned all of every Seinfeld bit or whatever, and did wrote Seinfeld bits based on the probability. You know what I mean? It's like if he
right.
says the word the, if he says the word what's, then there's X% chance that there's going to be the as the next word, and there's X% chance that it's going to be deal, and then the next X%
Right.
chance is to say with. So it's like, what's the deal with? And then it just like starts going on. I mean, apparently the shit was like actually pretty convincing. Like people were saying, like you could tell it was like not literally Seinfeld, like it was a little off, but
Right.
that like, but that it was like terrifyingly, convincingly just spitting out Seinfeld, like
Right. But it could only make like a generic Seinfeld episode. It could never make like a something that's like resonating with something new and fresh happening. I don't think.
I hope. I mean, well, dude. I mean, I'm with you. I'm with you. I mean, I'm just like, I'm just don't shoot the messenger. You know what I mean? I'm just saying like what I heard.
Right.
I
Yeah.
just heard that.
It could totally make a a Seinfeld episode that totally follows the Seinfeld formula.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
makes
it determines what that is. Like,
right.
but
It's
like,
not
I
gonna make
mean,
like a fresh approach to Seinfeld. I don't think.
no, 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 it's not. But then by the same token, it's like, is the AI on Spotify, is that going to recommend fresh stuff to you?
Right.
What constitutes, fresh or whatever, but is it going to just recommend
Right.
stuff based on the probability that you're going
Right.
to like click on it? It's like this probability shit, man. It's really
It's
dark
especially, yeah,
actually.
like for someone like me, I have like a really an eclectic like what I really like in music is when it doesn't sound like anything else that I've heard before, or like that's what
Yeah.
makes me something really excited about something. It's like, well, this is like really like innovative. And if I'm just getting music recommended to me because it sounds like this or sounds like that, um, it's not necessarily going to recommend to me something I find really exciting. It's going to recommend stuff that sounds like stuff I've already heard. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and actually, what you told me is that what you said before is that it doesn't even recommend it based on the sound. It recommends it
Right.
based on whether other people who liked it clicked on
Uh,
XYZ thing. So
exactly.
it's like it's not even doing it by sound. And of course, yeah, I mean, it doesn't have an opinion about
Right.
whether you would like it. It's the opinion is just based on,
Right.
um, you know. I mean, it's almost like, like when I mean, I always used to notice like when you'd go to see like a new like trendy band or something that's hyped, and it's like this vibe of people looking around the room to see if other people like it, and like no one's just making the call of like this rules or like this sucks. Like
Right.
everyone's just looking at the probability that it's is good or bad based on
Yeah. Right.
yeah, I don't know. So, yeah.
It's just very different. I feel like it was really nice to have something like Pitchfork, like when it was in its prime, to like have like tastemakers or whatever. At In some ways that was really limiting. It was really bothersome to have like gatekeepers that maybe some guys just doesn't like you, and it's just
Right.
not gonna. But like, maybe they're just too old, they don't get it or whatever. Uh, but it was nice to have that. I do kind of miss it.
Yeah, I mean right. It's an interesting thing you were
And
saying how
it's
like
hard to
yeah.
replace it, or it's weird. Now it's all about you have to be self-reliant. Even like a label is not even really a thing, because that was another way that you could find cool music, is that like
Okay,
there's a
yeah.
label. If you like a band on this label, you might buy the other bands and go check out the other bands on the label.
Yeah, do you think that's done?
I,
Because I
it's
don't know. I
I
mean,
feel like the thing about that is it does still serve a function, but that's it. That's the function that a label serves now. It's now like a promotional like body.
the name affiliation,
Like cuz you
yeah.
do not need a label to print your records or
True.
to make your CDs, or cuz most people aren't even making records. They're just making it's just digital.
Yep.
You can get and you don't need distribution from your label. You just put it on Spotify with DistroKid or whatever. And so and like um to get signed to a label at this point, usually the way that works is you need to be promoting yourself on YouTube. And if you have like a million plays on YouTube, then maybe
Yeah.
a label will sign you.
Then you get the yeah, 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 yeah.
It's not like they're just looking for obscure artists. No, they're like going to wait until you get a
The
million plays
numbers.
on your own.
No, they want the numbers
Yeah.
already. Yeah,
And
yeah.
if you can do that by yourself without a label, then you have to question like, do I need a label to like take 50% of the cut of my money?
I would like to have the next Extra Life record come out on a label, but it is definitely not necessary. This is not a
Right.
it's if I self-release the next one, shit is gonna be absolutely cool. But I do like I think people between my age and your age, people in their 30s generally. Am I blowing up your age here? Are you just trying to be 22 still? Or no? Okay,
No.
yeah. Like, so, like I think people between our ages kind of, sort of, still care about what a label like if somebody hears that something's on a certain
But
label, like it
well,
it, it does kind of affect
that
people.
is
But younger, I
the
don't know.
function that a
Yeah.
label serves. Is
D-
now it is a way it what label is for at this point is they can provide PR if they're doing a good job.
yeah. I mean,
They'll actually promote you. They
do
have
do
like
uh
connections, hopefully.
do kids who are 20 though, or like 15, do they even care at all about labels, or is that just like zero? Like that's my question.
I think that They do
Yeah.
sometimes because like if you heard of PC Music
Oh,
is an
sure, sure.
example, like
That's been
the
around for a
hyper
while.
pop label.
Yeah.
Like that is a bunch of artists, and you know about all the different artists because they're all on PC Music, and
Right.
that
Right.
is um that is the functionality that a label provides, and it is very efficient. Like all the artists, like if you're on PC Music, people are immediately going to know who you are.
Yep. 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 Yeah. No. So that's an example. That's a great example. That got me. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And so
totally.
if if a label can provide that, and PC Music is like an example of they are effectively doing that. They're actually promoting their artists, and anyone that's on PC Music is instantly going to have some people knowing about them because
Yeah.
everyone who
Yeah.
follows PC Music. But yeah, that's all that's left. And a lot of the time when I work with labels lately, well, because personally I've had a lot of like bad experiences with labels where the only reason I was working with them in the first place is because I thought, they might help me with PR or something. But then when the record comes out, it's like they didn't really do very much PR. They were kind of like hoping that I would promote them or something. And
Yeah.
like I and then they get 50% of my money for like 10 years because I signed a contract to be with the label, whatever.
50% of the royalties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like, if
Yeah.
I just did it without this label, I would be doing it would be doing the same because I am doing all the PR
Okay. You think it would have?
myself,
You think?
really. And
Yeah.
like I don't need this label, and I wouldn't I would have gotten twice as much money.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but
Well, that's yeah, but I mean, that's if you're confident that you would have been able to sell the same amount without the label, which sounds like you are. In which case, in
right,
which case, it would
because
have been better to do it
right,
on
because
your own.
like what Friendzone did is we never worked with labels until later on when we were with Rocky, and we were doing a couple albums with Main Attractions we did on a major label.
Yeah.
But when we started out and when we built up our name and stuff, and like people started knowing who we are, it was 100% just us. We just uploading songs to SoundCloud and to Tumblr and Twitter, and just and we just keep putting stuff out, and just by word of mouth, and people we eventually ended up with like 1 million plays on stuff just
Yeah.
by with no labels helping us out. In fact, labels were trying to kind of get in our way, but yeah, I feel like we always have worked most effectively just on our own.
Yeah, word of
Well,
mouth is always like that's never gonna die because people fucking love music. Doesn't
right,
matter how grim,
right,
things get with
right,
technology or the human.
yeah,
Like people talk. People talk about
yeah.
music.
But then there was at one point where I did actually experience a label like providing something of value. Was when we had at one point we had like a manager from 480, and that guy was just like hooking shit up left and right. Like he
Yeah,
was like getting
managers do
us
shit. Yeah.
like in like Wired magazine, and like he was like setting up like huge shows for us to play at, and like he like when we went to the show, the manager would like show up with like a stack of pizzas and all this stuff, and he was like providing like lots of things, and he got us like hooked up like Adult Swim. We had like a song on Adult Swim and all this stuff, but I mean that came and went, and but that was like if I could get that would actually be useful. I mean, we actually had this PR company that we like. He got us PR for free. Like an actual PR company was working for us for free, and they it's like the same one that works for like Dirty Projectors and like Odd Future and
Word,
all
word.
this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing. Is what is a manager? It's like it's just a person who people listen to. It's just like
Right.
it's literally just a person with
Yeah.
clout, not
Yeah.
not
Tons
necessarily
of connections.
not necessarily in a bullshit clout way. In a real
Yeah.
way.
It's like a
People
guy
are
who can
like,
just like make a phone call and you'll be in a magazine.
yeah, yeah, no, because people just listen to the person. They just think the person's cool and they're hopefully right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that I mean that's essentially just word of mouth, but just like a very a mouth with a lot of credibility. You know,
Right.
which like a label, like a publicist isn't the same thing, right? A
Hmm.
publicist doesn't necessarily. They might have connections at press, but they don't have all those other connections
Right.
of like getting you in a fashion,
Yeah.
situation
Gets those
or
like
whatever.
commercials and all this stuff,
Yeah. That's for a manager. Yeah, yeah.
which
But
definitely is nice to have, because then you don't have to do shit. But being self-reliant is always ideal, because then you actually have the skills, and then nobody can take it away from you. You know, maybe
true.
your manager will lose interest in you eventually, but if you are
Also true.
capable of promoting yourself, it doesn't really matter.
Well, that's why the internet is still sick, man. I mean, it's just like it is still the Wild West. I mean,
Right. Because
like
it used to
despite
be,
whatever.
yeah, before the internet, you either get signed to a label or you're fucked.
Well, it'd be
Back in the
like,
90s.
well, there'd be like tape trading and
Right.
you'd start your own, touring. You'd start your own. You put out your own record and local scene and touring. I mean,
Right.
like you did with Religious Girls and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, the internet is still the shit as far as like just word of mouth, you know. But
Yeah, now you can like make your music video with just your phone.
yeah,
Just upload it. You don't
yeah,
need to like a contract with MTV or something to get your shit into
yeah.
circulation or whatever.
No doubt, man. But yeah, dude, live shows though, man. Live shows. I mean, I'm like I am back, dude.
That's why I'm so excited to
But
see you guys.
dude, actually,
When are
I
you guys
mean,
going to tour here?
well, this is the thing, man. It's like the plan is I want to do a US tour before the end of the year. It's
Mhm.
just financially, man. It's just Europe is so much sicker than the US, dude. It's
Why?
so
Why do you say that? I would think that it's a lot more
just
expensive to go
just
to Europe.
well, just the amounts of money that I mean, I
Because
like I don't know,
it's because you
dude.
get
It's like
paid more in Europe, you're
yeah.
saying?
Oh yeah, quite a bit more. I mean, and just like free food and shit. I mean, just like
That's what I keep hearing. I've never toured Europe, so I don't know that. But
dude.
I hear that like when people tour there, they like, oh, they like gave us like an apartment to like stay in, and
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
they
No,
paid
no.
us like 10 times as much as we get in America.
Oh yeah, no. You get paid way more, especially in like places like France where they have like government funding for just a band,
Right.
and like and just yeah, free food every night, usually breakfast, decent hotels and shit. I mean, all over the place, man. Yeah, it's like doing the States, it's like just for the love, man. It's just doing it for the culture. It's like it's financially, and our
Right. 'Cause
drummers.
nobody like helps you
Yeah,
with anything here.
no,
Not
no.
really.
Our drummer's based in Belgium too, so it's like he comes over to the States a fair amount, but
Oh,
so it's like if we're gonna play the States, it's got to be like an actual tour. But yeah, we're gonna
right.
do it, man. I mean, and obviously we're gonna play New York when we do it, but when I get back though, I'm gonna be starting some New York centric, some shit that's maybe not as career serious as Extra Life, but that
Uh,
is ready to play locally and
right.
like just set up and play around town.
Have you guys even
Um,
played in LA?
nope. I mean, back in the day, original Extra Life, but yeah,
Yeah, but
no,
you
no,
not now?
no. The new Extra Life the only live shows we did is this Europe tour that we just did last month.
Right.
There was just like 24 shows,
I guess you'd
and
have to get that guy from Belgium to fly out here.
yeah, which he's gonna do. That's what we're gonna do when we tour the
Okay.
States. But it's like, but we're not gonna do one of those van tours. We're not doing that loop around the country for a month shit. Like, no.
No, you
Like we'll
fly
do.
around?
Well, no. I mean, we'll fly to the East Coast and then we'll do, like a week
Right.
on the East Coast and then fly to the West Coast and do a week on the West Coast. I think
You like
the way
rent
to do it.
instruments or something to do that?
Hopefully borrow instruments. I'll see, because we haven't
Right.
done. I mean, when Extra Life used to tour the States, we were a New York band. I mean, we're all based in New York. Yeah, now it's a little different, but
I kind of miss the loop around. It would be fun to do that again. It's been a long time since I've done that.
I mean,
It's fun to drive through the whole country and see all the crazy shit that's going on.
I miss the drive from like when you're going like you do like Chicago, like Minneapolis, and then the long ass drives through like Dakotas and then getting through Montana. Like once you're like through Montana and you get to the actual West Coast, that was always a really cool
Yeah.
feeling drive wise.
Yeah.
Like Butte, Montana. Like you come to Butte, Montana after like fucking like after like nothing for a while. It's like it's a
Right.
vibe. But yeah.
Yeah, it's fun just to see the whole country. I actually haven't done the north side. I've just done we go down through the south, to LA, Arizona, Texas, and then we go to New Orleans, and then through Florida, and then up the East Coast. That's a big part of why it'd be so cool to live on the East Coast, because you could just tour there, just in the East Coast. You could do like 13 cities and just drive
Yeah.
just a couple hours every night.
Yeah, down the no, totally, man, totally. What you
Yeah,
talking
like,
about with Religious Girls? You used to do that route,
yeah,
or
and like
yeah,
with a couple other bands. But like here on the West Coast, touring is such a pain in the ass, because like every city, they're like at least 8 hours apart.
I know it's
Like
not as
to
much
go to
stuff.
Portland, it's like 14 hours away.
Dude,
So it's like very expensive to tour here.
Dude, this is what I'm saying, man. It's like,
Yeah.
and it's like flying homeboy from like Belgium to go just like play in like, whatever, like
Right.
to try to hit like Eugene as like a filler show of in
Right.
Portland. It's like, but now we're gonna do it, dude. We got to bring it to the States, man, and definitely the
gotta
East
do that.
Coast, dude. Definitely New York's got to taste the new Extra Life, man,
For sure.
for real. But yeah, man. Well, yeah, dude. Let's yeah. I think 2 hours is good, man. I think we're.
Is that how far we're in?
Yeah. Yeah. We can wind. Let's do a little winding.
All right.
Yeah, man. Like, so you got, I mean, definitely, everyone's got to check out the new Birthplace, the new old Birthplace, right?
Right. I'm gonna maybe later today or tomorrow. I'm gonna do a whole bunch of posts all over my social media, so everyone will know where to actually find that and all that stuff. But it's already on Spotify. Just type in Birthplace, and I think there's a couple other artists with the same name, but
yeah. But J plus plus plus, right?
yeah, J plus 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 is the record, or Castle.
That's that one in Castle. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you'll find them if you know that. You can check out my new re-release.
Hell yeah.
Remastered. I actually went and I made sure everything was like loud, and I put it through Ozone and used multi-band compression and stuff.
I got that Ozone. Yeah. It's very useful.
Shit works.
Yeah, it's very, very good.
It gets the job done.
And and you all know Friendzone already, no doubt.
Yeah, and I would say I have a new album as Chlorine Mist that's coming. I've been saying that for a few years now, but it's coming.
Dude.
I want it out by this summer, is my hope.
Hell yeah.
I just need to get the with these really symphonic kind of like arrangements. It's very hard to get the mix just right, and especially when you're doing your own music, you're so picky about it. But I will get it done.
Yeah, I mean, when anytime you're doing a sound world that like a lot of other people haven't done, it's hard to get them. There isn't like a standard, like obvious way to mix the shit. It's like you're out on your own. But yeah, man, yeah, Chlorine Mist is great, dude. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, and look out for whatever Dylan's doing in New York.
Yeah.
And
it's coming soon.
I'll be in fucking New York too, so we'll at least be having beers together at the very least.
Yeah, maybe we'll start a little something.
Definitely. I'm just saying, you like plant the idea and then it's like kind of let the hang determine that, yeah.
Sounds about right.
Hell yeah.
Let's do it.
Cool, man. Well, dude, thanks so much for coming on. It was awesome to catch up with you, man.
Yeah, it's great.
Awesome. Yeah.
Cool podcast.
Dude, thank you, sir.
I like watching it. It's fun to watch.
Nice. We got some really,
good content.
Gonna keep the really interesting guests go. That's funny. Yeah, content. That's something. If you told me 7-8 years ago that I was gonna use the word content seriously, I would be like, no fucking way. Now I'm just like, yo, man, premium content coming your way. Smash that like, fam. And
that's cool to see.
You know,
I should probably start one.
Dude, I kind of think everyone should start a podcast. Like, I know that's such a crazy thing. I honestly,
right.
I don't understand. There's no way I wouldn't have a podcast now.
But it feels
it's impossible. Like,
right.
It's like,
because like you think to yourself, like, oh, like this is like too many podcasts. It's gonna be like podcasts like overkill. But now when you actually think about it, there aren't that many podcasts like covering like the kind of content that you do.
There's not, man. There's not at all, really. I mean,
Yeah, like, you're the only one I can think of.
Yeah, no, this shit is, dude. No one's doing what this is, man.
Yeah,
No one's even. It's just.
Yeah, that makes me realize, we actually need more podcasts. There's like not enough.
I'm saying, man. Well, this is also the reason I wanted to do YouTube, though. I always say this is like podcast thing's great, but I also love doing it on YouTube because this entire world of YouTube is such schlock. Like it's like the
Right.
lowest vibe. So it's like to go in there with even two decent thoughts in your head, you're already like swelling the content of the platform by like 9 million%, so it's like it's like a big fish small pond mentally.
Right,
like,
right.
Podcasts, there are actually smart people like doing it, but
yeah,
in any case, yeah, dude, hell yeah, we're gonna kick it in New York, dude. Again, thank you so much for coming on, Dylan.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Good vibe, man. All right. Talk soon, bro.
Peace.
All right. So yeah, I'm not really doing the afterward wind down thing. But I guess I am. I don't know. I could have just hit end broadcast right when Dylan left. In any case, right? Dylan rules. Chlorine Mist, Birthplace, Friendzone. Hell yeah. You all know it. You all love it. Stay tuned for more. Oh, no. But here's the thing. Patreon. The Last Things Patreon. I should have mentioned that right up top. Subscribe to that. Patreon.com/LastThingsPodcast. I'm going to have that link in the comment thing or the description blurb thing below. Do it. Please do it. If you do the $10 level, you get all these premium guitar instructional videos and all this shit, special exclusive content. We're only just getting started over here at Last Things. Believe me. Word. Thanks for commenting and listening and everything. Peace, everyone.